Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes. Jason Fulmore, SC Russell. This is 6 Minutes for Thursday, May 19th. We're highlighting best of the best duels in Tennessee this weekend. I'll be up there in Cleveland, Tennessee on Saturday, taking in some what should be some outstanding matches. There's a lot going on across the Southeast. We'll touch on that at the end of this episode. But we begin with a conversation with State Chair Mike Hatcher. Coach Hatcher and I got together on Zoom, had a conversation. I would say a quick conversation, but you get two wrestling people talking about wrestling, and it never ends up being that short. So I've cut it up. There's a segment within this 6 minutes, but if you're interested in the longer conversation with Coach Hatcher, I'll provide a link below in the description. All right? Enjoy this conversation with Mike Hatcher, and stay tuned after as we talk about some of the matchups that we might see this weekend. I'm here today with Coach Hatcher. I still think of you as Coach Hatcher, not as state chair of USA Wrestling in Tennessee.
It's been a while, my man. Huh?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has. But you guys have been busy up there.
We have been busy. We have been really busy. Our state is, I'm just really blessed to have, not only an outstanding board of directors in the state of Tennessee, but just an outstanding group of coaches, group of athletes, just everything. We do. So we have a lot of great things going on. It has nothing to do with the state chairman, that I can assure you.
I don't know. You put all the pieces in place, right?
I do. I think I do a good job of delegating, because I think I have a lot of people on our board that are a lot smarter than I am. A lot of coaches in our state that are better coaches than I am, and I just let them kind of do their thing, and I just kind of
step out of the way, right?
Step out of the way and let them do what they're best at. So no, we have a lot of really good things going on right now. Obviously, from the leadership side, and then also the performance side. This athletes, our membership's up. Everything's is doing really, really well.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the performance side, because last weekend you guys showed out at Southeast Regions. You had a really good showing. Lots of champs, 14U, 16U, juniors, girls, really wrestled well. So congratulations.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, again, we just have, I think our coaching pool in Tennessee is getting much better every year, and that's just kind of one of the things with just when you're developing, especially a state like ours, which is, I guess you could call it like a more non-traditional state. It doesn't have that tradition like in Iowa or Jersey or a PA or a Minnesota. Those type of Illinois, those type of states. There's just a lot of tradition there. People just stick around and coach. And I think what we have going on right now is we have not only like new coaching pools coming in with younger coaches coming in, but we also have just some really good pockets of with Chattanooga, Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee. We've got some great stuff going on there, and of course the West. And we just get kids that are coming back and giving back their sport. And now those kids that were doing that 10 years ago, now they're starting to become really seasoned coaches.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things that's really helping our state out. And then also in addition to, we're traveling more. We have a lot bigger presence now on the national level. Before we'd have a handful of kids, maybe 3 to 7 kids per year. I think that could really make some noise on the national level, or kids kind of knew about, throughout the country. But now we're getting more of them. And so I think that's opening people's eyes to what's going on in the state of Tennessee, and also, really kind of opening up the eyes of the kids in the state of Tennessee, also saying, well, what, so-and-so Hudson Chittum's down here, and man, everybody in the United States knows him. I want to do that, so it's kind of, it's really, kind of helping us, progress along from a developmental standpoint with that.
Very cool. Well, this weekend you've got the best of the best duels, which I don't know if everybody knows about, but it's up in Cleveland this weekend. And can you just give us a little bit of an overview, kind of a history of best of the best duels, and how did that kind of come to be?
Well, from what I understand, and this was actually when I was in Florida, when it started coming about. It was when Terry Brands was the coach way back then. And I think Terry's obviously very, very, was a huge part of, he really kind of developing Tennessee wrestling at his time he was here. And I know he was very active, with the USA Wrestling program here at the time. And I think that's when it kind of all started. I think he said, hey, I want to see something from all four regions. So they started putting together this best of the best duels. And this was way back then, because I know that two of our coaches, and we have one of our podcasts, our weekly podcast.
Right.
was with three of the coaches, because we only have three of the regions represented. Unfortunately, the East couldn't get a team together this year, which is unfortunate because they actually have some really good kids there. I mean, really good kids, and it would have been very interesting to get those all together but due to graduation issues and stuff like that, just a lot of things going on in Eastern Tennessee, they couldn't get together. But they basically, like I had Pete Miller and I had Derek Harrison on the podcast this weekend.
Right.
Derek is from the West. He's the head coach at Christian Brothers, and Pete's the head coach at Summit High School in Middle Tennessee. And they remember wrestling in it way back in when they were in high school. They were on the same team. They both competed for Cleveland. So yeah, they were kind of giving us a little bit of history on it, and they had some battles back then with it. And I know through the years, Derek's actually been very, very successful in coaching it. Because he coached in East Tennessee for a number of years. He won in East Tennessee, had a big upset the big Chattanooga team back when Chattanooga had a real strong program, and then he moved out west and then won it as a West. So that's kind of one of his bragging rights. But yeah, that's kind of the history of it. We want to battle it out, all four regions, and we want to see who the best is, and that's what kind of happened.
It's such a good it's such a good setup, I think, and it really kind of brings the state together. And I was watching the Rockfin, and I'll put it into the link below on where people can watch you guys and that sort of thing. Because one of the things that came out of that, the one question I really had as it related to it was, you could tell the competitiveness of the coaches when I was watching it. And how important is that from a state chairman's perspective, that you get to watch them be competitive and their kids be competitive to help raise up the bar in Tennessee?
Well, that's like, we have the best of both worlds here in Tennessee. We really do. Yes, I mean, I think that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to wrestling. I mean, coaches are going to be competitive, athletes are going to be competitive. Anytime you put them on a team and whether it doesn't matter where area they're from, or what school they're from. I mean, I would hope that they would be competitive with it. But especially when we start doing something like this, where they're kind of representing the quadrant of the state, it's very competitive. But at the same time, I think we do a really good job in the state of working together. And I think that's if that's one of my strengths, I think that's probably the one, is trying to get the people to work together and kind of see things maybe from a different light, maybe kind of see things maybe from a statewide perspective instead of their own little, their own little area there. I think it's just important, just because I think we don't have enough athletes in the state to divide up and to just train in your own quadrant. We have to get together at certain times of the year and make each other better. And the same thing with the areas, like in Middle Tennessee right now, where I'm at currently. It's very, very important for those coaches to get together and those kids to get together and collaborate and train together. The whole idea, iron sharpens iron. And I think we do a decent job of that here in Middle Tennessee. I think that in all the different regions they do. And now we have to start coming about that and doing that more statewide. So we actually, I think, do a very, very good job of that. I've been in states where it wasn't quite like that, and I think we do a pretty good job of that. And I'm really proud of our coaches and our board members, for coming together at numerous times of the year and just to make each other better. And but this is just I say a friendly competition, but we'll see. We'll see how friendly this comes on Saturday. It does get pretty heated.
Yeah, well, I mean, watching the Rockfin, that kind of got me excited to come up and watch it. I was like, oh man, I think they're really trying to stack their teams. From what I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, there were a couple teams that were trying to slide in some ringers to help their team out. Is that true?
Well, I love him. He's a good friend. But Shane Chittum he's the one that starts all this stuff. He started this, and I love Shane. I mean, he does so much for our state of Tennessee and our vote. He's a great guy. He really does, and he is obviously he's a great coach. He's got All-American after All-American pumping out that boom ranch, but he likes to get it rolling. He likes to get it going. He does.
Yeah, he does.
He started talking and started chirping with these guys way back in the fall when we were making the date. I mean, at the state meeting, he started chirping. And of course, Derek wasn't even going to participate this year. He's like, listen, I've won it enough. I don't need to win it anymore. So yeah. Ooh. So Shane, he's like, listen, the last time I won, you guys were supposed to win in Chattanooga and we upset you, but so just kind of getting under. And then Derek decided about a month or so to go to step in and be the West Tennessee rep. And then, of course, Pete's always jar. I mean, these three have been jawing back and forth with each other since the fall.
All right. So Best of the Best Duels happens in Cleveland, Tennessee this weekend. If you're interested, you can find a live stream of the duels between the West, the Middle, and the South. No East team this year. It'll be live on Rockfin on the Tennessee USA Wrestling page. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about the rosters. So as you can see, the Middle has quite a few, has a full lineup as compared to West and South, who might be missing a few holes, might be moving a couple kids up to fill some spots. Boy, on paper, it looks like South is pretty strong. But as Coach Hatcher alluded to in my conversation with him, this is super competitive, and there's going to be some really, really good matchups and some really, really back and forth matches, both in Greco and in freestyle. A few of the matchups that I think I'll be looking for, although I'll be watching obviously all of them, are these. I think 120 should be a lot of fun. 132 definitely is one to watch. Cooper Hilton, Caleb Yurchuk, Landon DeSalle, Kason Rourke, Stephen Dindal. I think one of those teams is missing. I think the South, it's the Cooper Hilton, Caleb Yurchuk, are missing a 32-pounder. So we could see one of them move up to face a matchup at 130 or at 130. I'm sorry, at 126. They're both at 126-pounders, moving up to face one of those at 132. Nate Askew could face a Landon DeSalle or a Kason Rourke. So that'll be really interesting. 145 should be some interesting matchups. 52 should be some really good matchups. And then 170, you got Aiden Bowers, possibly Cy Fowler or Cody Chittum moving up from 60, Aiden Bruneau. So these are some of the matchups that if you're on Rockfin and are interested, or if you're in the Cleveland area and are interested, should pop in and check out some of these dual matchups. All right, so look for us on Monday as we do a wrap up of this this weekend. And what are the things you need to know today as we head into the weekend? Alabama and Louisiana have their Frucco State tournaments. North Carolina is hosting Beach Nationals, which I'm not 100% sure about beach wrestling yet. It'll be really interesting. Be interesting to see how many people we have out for that event as well. And then probably the biggest news over the last 24 hours was the fact that it looks like South Carolina just had the governor sign into law girls or women's wrestling becoming sanctioned in South Carolina. I'm not 100% sure how to read all that and all the legalese that is associated with a state bill, but I'm hoping that I can get somebody on and talk about that next week, what all that means and if there are any more hoops that have to be jumped through. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you see me in Tennessee, please come up and say hey. Enjoy some good wrestling. You guys take care.